Good morning and welcome to the Autopsyofher, Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. I am your host and I am Iris Denise Owens, and I am so excited to be here with you today. And on the line with me today, as always, is my beautiful co-host and my sister. Good morning, honey bunny. How are you?
Good morning, honey bunny. I'm doing great. Good morning, everybody. Stephanie Deani Green.
Yes. So listen, guys, today, Steph and I have had a whole conversation. We've probably recorded 3 shows before we got here this morning. I just want to let you all know that. But today, something that I think we are all facing, we are all challenged with. And sometimes I don't know if it's because I'm female, because I'm African American, because I'm smart, because I'm resilient, because I won't lay down when people want to do things. But today's topic is what happens when I'm caught in the crossfire. And so crossfire being, you ever just are, you're going through life, right? Whether it's your family, your spouse, your children, your work relationships, your career, whatever it is, where you feel that people push back on you for things that, would you do that to someone else? Would you try that with someone else, right? Especially when
because with me,
right.
You know what I mean?
Would you try that with me? Because, or why are you trying it with me? Because we have a relationship, or at least that's how I see you and I, right? So let's just say Steph and I, we've been friends almost 30 years, right? Always been straight shooters with one another. I don't think there's ever been a time where either of us have sugarcoated something for the other, right? We support one another, and we also know there is a time for everything. So even if I think, or she thinks I'm doing something that's really crazy, the first concern is always going to be, let me check on you first. Let me see how you're doing. Let me see where you are emotionally, headspace wise, because I need to make sure that if I'm about to say something to you, I want to know if you're ready to hear that.
Exactly.
Because we also realize we get caught in the crossfire a lot of times because someone, or we're not prepared to hear what's being delivered to us. And maybe because at the point, I'm not even there yet, right?
No, because people realize it's a grieving time, and then there's a receiving time.
Absolutely. I love that, Steph.
You're going through something, or
right.
you have gone through something, you grieve, whatever it may be. It's it's a grief period. So that's your grieving time.
Right.
And when you're grieving, you're not ready to receive anything, whatever. Even at that time, you're not even ready to receive words of encouragement.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You're definitely not ready to receive, something that's a contradiction to you either.
Yes.
For sure. So you have to, timing is everything.
Absolutely. So because we are relational, right? And what we do in life, everything is relational. I remember when I thought I wanted to be an accountant, because I thought I want to be in a room in the back, behind the back room, doing this money thing. And then I don't have to deal with people and their stuff. And then I thought to myself, you are nowhere that person.
But I can't believe you just said that, because I wanted to be an accountant too at one point. That is so weird, because I'm so good with numbers. I'm so good with money.
Yes.
So
but I realized after accounting 101, I was like, oh, hell no. People said you got to find that penny. A penny? What? No. I realized that is not who I am. So I was caught in a crossfire right there. I had to immediately make a decision, a hard, fast decision about what I was going to do with my college goals, right? Because an accountant was not it. I had to go back and reevaluate, who are you? What is it that you really think, hear what I said, think at this moment that I want to do with my life? Because as a college student, or as a young adult, never mind being a college student, there are so many thoughts going on in your head, right? It's like a kid in a candy store. You're like, Oh, today I want to be a therapist. Oh no, tomorrow I want to be a model. Oh my God, no, I think I want to be an astronaut. Oh my God, no, I'm gonna be a doctor. You go through all of these stages.
Wait a minute, only as a college student? Not
Well,
as a
I was gonna say it starts much earlier, but we don't identify it most times, right? And so as we go through young adult stage, that's college is normally where we start having those first stages of, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. Even to the fact of I'm going to college. And then sometimes people decide, I don't want to do this anymore in midstream. They're like, I don't want to do this. Right. And society looks at that as quitting. Right. It says you don't start things and then don't finish. Well, is that really a bad thing?
No,
Because
not at all.
I do think I absolutely. So being caught in the crossfire sometimes I think can bring such clarity, right? Because I may have had a relationship with you and I'm thinking we're driving down Straight Street, right? We're on Straight Street. We're going forward, forging ahead, driving down, passing all these lovely things on the, in the scenery. And so I'm thinking life is good. And somewhere along the line, I'm at Straight Street and red light. And I turn around to have a conversation with you only to find out that you turned off on Left Street. And I'm like, hey, wait, what happened? We were on this ride together.
We were on the same path.
We were on the same path. And now I find myself at a crossroads, at a crossfire, because now what I thought was happening is no longer happening. But guess what? You probably knew that 10 streets ago, 20 blocks ago.
Absolutely.
And I had no idea.
Yeah. And
I had no idea.
Well, you know why? Because they needed company to go. That happens is people, they're going to use you as company.
So I was a ride along. I was just a ride along.
They already know that, okay, this journey that we're on is going to take 50 blocks. And God knows, I know I'm only going 30, but I don't want to go those 30 by myself.
Ooh.
So I'm going to ride them 30. I'm going to go with you. We're going to go 30 and I'm going to just turn off and you're going to look back and don't know where I went. Because I'm not going to tell you. Because now I know if I tell you I'm not going on this 50 block journey with you, you're not going to go.
Right.
But
I change who I am because now you have delivered this devastating news to me. So even if I decide to stay on the journey, I am not going to be giving you what it is that you needed from me to begin with, or why you're keeping me on this journey.
Well, not that. That too. But I'm not gonna be the person that I was that made you want to go on this journey with me in the first place.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna show you in the most disrespectful way without necessarily cursing you out or putting my hands on you. But everything else, you say good morning, I grunt. You know, I say what you want. Like I ain't hungry no more, you know. Everything I can do to be just peaceful and make
God,
miserable. You know, like you bag me these extra 20 blocks, and I didn't want to come. I'm gonna make you pay.
Right. And now I'm over here crying, snorting, mad, all of that. But I can't. So, well, I can't say I can't. But what do I do? So I'm here at red light and Straight Street, and you're at left turn, and you've already turned. So now you down on Left Street, right?
I can't even see you.
Do I back up? Do I back up to come back and find out?
Well, you know, the reality is, like, you really can't back up because you're on a one-way street. But not only that, they turned off and you didn't know they turned off.
Right.
So by the time you realize they're gone, even if you wanted to circle the block, you don't know which way they went. You don't know where they are now.
Wow.
So, you know what I'm saying? So you can't. You know what I mean? It's like you have to get that from God.
Oof.
because a lot of times, and the reason that people, whatever the relationship is, they don't want to give you closure is because they always want to leave it open. So once they decide that they wanted to go those 30 blocks and make that left turn because they felt it was prettier down there.
Right. There was something more appealing on Left Street than it was
Exactly. But
on
then when
Straight
you
Street.
go down there, you find out it wasn't appealing at all. Okay.
Absolutely. That grass
And
is
so
greener on the
and
other side.
I have this quote that it said that everybody always thinks the grass is greener on the other side. And then not only is the grass not green, but when the morning, when the rain comes, you find out there was only paint. Okay. And it washes all the green away. Okay. Because it's not green at all. So
It was an
you think it
illusion.
was, yeah, exactly. It was definitely
Yeah.
illusion. So people like to leave the situation, like to leave the door open. So, and then give it enough time to try to trick your mind. I didn't know you were going straight. I thought you turned too. To tell you the other straight. I turned back. I turned around and you weren't behind me.
But what's interesting about that is that people have expectations of the way we start a relationship, right? Because I have a character, you have a character. You have a persona, I have a persona, right?
Mhm, mhm.
But what happens in relationships, and I'm talking relationship across the
In
board.
general.
So
Yeah,
whatever the
your
relationship is,
children, your mother, your siblings, whatever. No,
absolutely.
everything's relationship. Even with
It
your
is
animals, a relationship.
absolutely. It's interesting to me how when a person is making a change and they never share that they're changing, or they don't ever share that they have an issue, or they feel that they need to make a turn or make a change. And yet, when you point out to that person, hey, you changed, they then attack you and say, I didn't change anything, you changed.
Mhm.
When did I change? And if I changed, how come you never said anything to me about the fact that you thought I was changing? So here we are
But
again at the crossroads. So was it really that you changed, or was it that this person changed, and now that you're addressing it, now they're putting it again back on you because they never bothered to tell you that, hey, I'm only going these 30 blocks on this 50 block ride.
well, the reality to that is that everybody changes. You change every single day.
Every day.
Okay. And the reality, like, and some people change more than others. So, and because every day you learn something new. When you learn
Absolutely.
something new, it changes you. So everybody's changing every day.
Right.
But some people recognize it and some people don't. I think that's the difference. Because the reality is when you're in a situation with whomever, and even when you're training your dog, your dog keeps doing something, but you enable that. Like he keeps begging for food at the table, but yet and still you keep giving him food at the table.
Right.
He's gonna keep begging for food at the table. If you
Correct.
want him to stop begging for food at the table, you have to stop giving him food at the table.
Right. And you have to
So
stop it from the point that he first starts begging. So
exactly, you have to
you can't give
you
it
have
to
to
him
do
the
it.
one time and then go,
Exactly.
no, we're not
Right,
going to do that. If you
right.
don't
Because
want something to start, right, or if you don't want to continue doing something that you know is not going to be beneficial, don't
that's right.
even
Don't start.
entertain it. Don't start it.
Exactly. Don't start.
My grandma used to say, don't start nothing, you're not going to finish.
exactly. Don't
And
start.
that's a
Not gonna
true
finish.
thing. If you
But
start
it's
it,
true.
the
True.
expectation is,
That's
okay,
what
this is what you have done. This is what we're going to continue doing. And
you have, like, just like you have to, you cannot, because then you have, now it's more work for you to get that away from them. Like
yes,
I personally don't like pacifiers. I refuse to give my kids pacifiers. So
right,
guess what? They did not get pacifiers because
right,
now I have to give them something. Now I have to get that off of them. Okay, so that's even more work. So, but basically the whole thing too is like when you, whatever it is that you want different from whomever, your
right,
child, your mother, your animal, whatever, you have to make the change. When you change, then things around you change. That's how
absolutely.
that works. Now, does everybody like the change?
No,
No. Does some people like the change? Yes, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But that's how it is. Because whatever it is, when you decide to change for the better or for the worse, it's
Yes.
gonna upset the apple cart.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
You know,
And
so yes,
there'll be many who will be in support, and there'll be many who are not, and there'll be some who could care less, one way or the other.
exactly. I mean,
It won't matter to them.
Exactly. But it's the simplest thing is that we have teenage, we had, well, you still have a teenager. I had teenagers,
Right.
and we're the chauffeur. Then all of a sudden, when you said, like, when Lyft and Uber came out, like, hey, you better start taking Lyft or Uber now. Okay, I'm changed now. They upset now. She don't want to take me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's whatever it may be.
Right.
It's the simplest thing. But is it a change? Yes. Am I the same person I was yesterday? Absolutely not. Especially I've been through something since yesterday for today. But no, and
Right.
that's the way it goes. And either and that's growing. But I think the difference between growing and not growing is not knowing that you're growing.
Yes. Or not knowing that you haven't made any changes. Not understanding that change is necessary.
Every day, they just don't recognize the changes.
Yes.
Just because literally, if you get up every day and you have the same routine, it's like you do the same thing every day. Not really. You think you do, but not really. You know what I mean? It's like you have the life force needle that everybody has in their life. All right, so my needle is always like this. It's never moving. Okay, to you, but it's really moving a little bit. You may not notice, right. But then some people's needle is moving like that. You see it right off the bat. You know what I mean? But trust and believe it's moving, but some people move more than other people. Right. That's what it comes down to. And sometimes that works in certain relationships. You know what I mean? Because it's like, that's good because you balance each other out. Right. The person who's moving like this, they all, and this person just kind of like stones, steady. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a balance. But yes, and it's another thing that I was listening to you, Jakes, one day, and I think I said this before. He said, some people that really liked you or loved you no longer love you, but they just didn't tell you. Exactly, but they're still in your life. Right. So or they're in your life.
Those people feed off of your energy. Exactly. That's something we also don't understand. There are people who will suck your life energy out of you. And those absolutely. Are the people that I refer to as slut rock, right? Mm-hmm. And this is in any relationship. If you are in relationship, whatever the relationship is, where you're always giving. And then when you need something, those people who you have given to and you cannot find any of them, or you shouldn't have to find any of them, any of those people are not present, cannot be present for you, that's a red flag that this is a one-sided relationship, which you are the giver, they are the receiver of all that you are giving, and they don't have anything to give you. Right? It's the same as being in a bad relationship, right, with a person. And then as people will say, man, I gave them the best years of my life. I taught them this, I did this, and I did that. And then this person never did any of those things. But as soon as you and that person break up, that person goes on to another person, male or female, and everything that you were desiring, this person is giving it 110% to this new person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Why does that happen? You know why? The expectations of you were already set. You set a precedent with that person that this person realized early on, I don't have to do that. Because you know why? Either he or she will accept it, or he or she will make the adjustments for what it is that they are looking for or what they want, or he or she doesn't care, and I could just do what I want to do, right?
But I think it's one of what I really think it is. I mean, it's all those things too. But I think the reality is that's when that person shows up for that person. That's because that's that person's mate, not the other person.
Yes, that's the person who you are willing to make changes for, or the situation that you're willing to make changes for, because it is finally the thing that piques you enough to move you, to really move you.
Like you want to change because you just want to do better, but for
Right.
some reason, this person isn't inspirational enough. They tell you, or even all the things they say make sense to you, but
Yes.
something in you is like, I don't feel like doing that. And as soon as you meet somebody, that person is inspiring enough for you that makes you, I want to change anyway, but now with you, I want to change so I can be
Right.
better mate for you.
Right. Right.
That's that. It's just because that wasn't that person, and people do, men and women do feel like that. I've heard the same things, like some of the things like you've said. Like I
Right.
did all these things. Now they got it. She got the best of him, or he got the best of
Of
he
her.
got the best
Right.
of her. But that's not necessarily. It wasn't because that wasn't your mate. That wasn't the
Right.
person for you.
Well, I think it's also it wasn't your mate, or it wasn't the season for you. I mean, it's just like look at it. Look at a woman who has, let's say, 3 children, 4 children. If you talk to those 4 children, they will all describe a different mother.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Mhm.
Because based on the stage in which that mother became a mother, had the first child, had the second child, the third, the fourth, every child gets a different mother, which I always laugh because I don't have siblings.
Well, I think that I to a point I think that's true, but then because me and my siblings and I are kind of across the board, but we're like
Right.
this. Now, like your children are more spread out.
Right.
So that is definitely true. But if you're having them like this, yeah, you're not really, because you're
Right.
having them,
Right.
so we all kind of sort of
Because even
stay.
though my children are spread out, I know that I was still a different mother to my younger
Exactly,
child
that's what I'm trying to say,
than I
right?
was my, because I think as a new mother, right? Like anything, as a new anything, you're like walking gently, right? You're gingerly, you're doing things, and there are moments that you will have a emotional breakdown because you're like, I'm such a horrible parent. I didn't, right? By the second and the third child, you're like, you'll be fine. Put some alcohol on it and keep it moving, right? And meanwhile, your kids are going, you are so mean. What kind of mama are you?
Well, I wouldn't put the gates on the steps. People are like, oh, you put gates on the steps so she won't fall. I said she fall down the steps, then she will never fall down the steps again. And I never, she never fell down the steps. Neither one of my kids ever fell down the steps.
Right.
But I mean, people have different ideas.
Right.
I was like, yeah. I mean, hey.
I think, like I said, life is about crossfires and crossroads, and we all encounter them. I think the issue is that a lot of times we don't understand or realize we're at a crossroads or at a crossfire, right? And so we will continue processing something in the same way, and we keep stirring the same pot, thinking that something different is going to come from it. And guess what? It's not.
It's not.
If you're not growing, then you're wasting time. And I hate to say that, but it's true. If you're not growing, because as long as you are breathing, walking, talking, you wake up every day, you have all your faculties about you. And sometimes even if you don't have all your faculties about you, life is meant for movement. Life is fluid. It moves. You must move. If you stand still, you are definitely not growing. You are not moving. You are not growing. You're not going forward. You're stagnant. Life is not stagnant, right? Hence that, even in death, I was reading, what's her name? Lauren, what's Lauren's last name? The actress who lost her husband, Lauren London. Thank you. I was reading, and then there was this really good interview that she had with an interviewer talking about the whole grieving process, right? And one of the things she was talking about is that, we are not created for death. And I was like, man, she put that so eloquently, because it's true. She's like, no matter what, right? We were born to live. And we are never, I don't know many people who are looking to die, right? Even when people are in so much pain and hurting and saying, I want to die, it's the pain, right? It's pain. That's not living. That's the pain that they are living in. So it's a totally different mindset. But when she said, grieving is a process that none of us are taught how to do, and you cannot, and it's true. And I always say, even when you know that someone, like if someone says, okay, this person is sick and they have, 6 months to live, that doesn't make the idea of them dying any easier, right? Even in sudden death, it doesn't make it any better than if it was a long-term illness. It's just, death is not something we are prepared to do, right? But yet, in our living, there are a lot of times that we are dying in situations and we don't even realize this, that we need resuscitation, that we really need to
I think
come
that
back.
I don't know. I think that in a lot of situations, I think people just don't want to acknowledge that. I think it's that innate thing inside of you, like
Mm-hmm.
deep inside of you, that I mean, now I meditate every day. That if you took just the time to quiet your mind,
Mm-hmm.
you know that whatever you're feeling is the truth. You know,
Mm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
like, it's like I don't want to feel that, but it's what you're feeling is true.
Right.
Whether you
I don't
feel
want to
like,
believe it. I feel it, but I don't want to believe it.
but it's like, because the how I just, heard something says men lie, women lie, your feelings, they don't lie.
Mm.
And they don't. We just don't want to accept it. Like you said, we don't want to believe it. But if somebody says something to you, or you feel something about your mate, your kids, whatever, that feeling is something, it's really true. And I've always been very much in touch with my feelings.
Right.
And what I realized too is, like, I know when I was in my early 20s, no, I was actually 18 when I first got engaged. And what I realized now is that when you are in a relationship, a romantic relationship, you should always face each other. Like if you sit at a table,
Mm-hmm.
instead of sitting next to each other like
Right.
this, you should always face each other, especially when you're with other people. Because when you have these dialogues, like, the other person can see the faces that's being made that you can't see because you're sitting on the side of the person.
Oh, absolutely.
Unless you're like,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because the expressions tell you everything. And we had that big breakup. I never forget, my girlfriend said, yeah, because every time you be talking about the wedding and everything, he would just be looking like he was so uninterested. But if I was sitting facing him, I wouldn't have missed it. But because I'm over
Right.
here, people here, and we're there because everybody was getting married. We all talk about our stuff. And
Right.
she was married already, her and her husband. So
Right.
I think it was a couple of couples, and I would have been more prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
it's just, it's interesting though. But and it still goes back to everything else, is communication is the key. But
Right.
even, and sometimes you got to start the conversation. But what you are feeling, if somebody's cheating on you, if somebody's doing something, if somebody doesn't love you the same way you love them, if you're feeling that in this trip,
Right.
you know,
You
because
know,
I
it's,
really, okay.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, let's say that if you have to ask someone, do they love you?
Oh God.
9 times out of 10, they don't.
Right. Right. And I, I'm a big watcher, and I'm very attentive to um women's stories, that where women have found themselves in situations where, like like we always say, it's like you could see the things that are happening, right? But yet we keep going, right? I.e.,
Exactly.
being in let's just use an abusive situation, and whatever form of abuse it is just, it breaks my heart every time I hear a story or I see a story of a woman who was on a track in life, like she was living her life, right? She's going forward, she's on straight street, she has dreams, visions, aspirations, and she's doing it, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
she encounters this human being,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who somehow, she turns her whole entire being around
Yes.
to be with this person,
Mm-hmm.
though this person is throwing daggers and stabbing and mind manipulation is off the charts, who brings you to these points in life where you're like, I don't even feel anymore. Let's go there. You don't feel anymore.
Oh yeah.
You're right.
Yeah,
but you keep telling yourself, because I hear women say all the time, but I loved him so much, right? He's putting hands on you. He's mentally abusing you, physically abusing, sometimes sexually abusing. He's doing the gamut. He saw you and he victimized you from the very moment you encountered him, right?
Exactly.
And Steph, I remember you once saying, and you've said it more than once. I remember telling you about my marriage to my first husband. And I said to you, we dated for 5 years. And I believe that I was truly in love with this person, right? And I believe that this person was truly in love with me. And that even after 5 years of dating, when I would see him or he would walk into a space, my hands, my palms would sweat and my stomach would get all giddy. And I remember you saying that was a warning sign that you should have ran. And I remember back then, in those moments, in my 23-year-old mind and self, believing this is love, and it was not, because this person was and had started to exhibit behavior that was not worthy of me being in their life, in their presence, that I should have ran before we ever even got engaged, right? Before we even had the breakup and I went away and they came searching for me and they proposed marriage to me. And I thought, this is amazing. Like, we love each other. Hell
That's
to
the love story
the
movie.
no. Right. Hell to the no. That is not how this thing works out. And I think as women, it is so important that we start to identify when we really are at a crossroad, because that's really what that is, right? When you start, like you just said, when you start to have those feelings, you start to have those doubts, you start to have that gut thing, or you realize that the energy changes in your space, or you realize, man, him and I used to just like click together. Like, you say yes, I say yes, sir. You say no, I said hell no. Right. We knew it. Right. We had all these. And then the minute you're out of sync, that's telling you something. Something is going on. It's the warning button. Right. Exactly. And like I said, people don't talk. People are afraid to have these conversations. Or if you have the conversation, then you get the BS from this person and you know it's BS. You know it's BS, but you, in your mind, you go through this. We've put in so much time. I put in so much time.
It's like you're on a train. So the idea is that the train is just, it's not
chugging
really
along.
Well, yeah, but yes, like trotting. It ain't full speed yet. So it's like that trotting stage is that dating stage before you kind of get to the engagement stage, because as the relationship moves on, it gets faster and faster.
Right.
And what happens is the faster that train is going, the harder it is to jump off.
Oh yeah. Right.
That's what it comes down to. And then it's like you get to, like, sometimes it make a quick pit stop. Is this a stop? Is this the stop?
Right.
You don't know what the stop is, because like now you got a house, maybe you got a summer house, you got a couple of kids, they got to go, you got a lot going on. All the stuff is on this train now.
But it's but Steph, most times it's all before any of that happens. It is because in our heads,
the train, when the train wasn't at full speed. But that means if I jump off this train and it's just trotting, I may just skin my palm when I catch myself.
Right. Okay? Now I got way too much to lose.
Right. Now I break every bone in my body. It's going like that.
Right. So, or you're already, and so, like I said, I've been there, right? Being abused by someone, right? And I never saw myself as that person. And so for women, and I want women to hear me loud and clear. And I'm talking to men too,
Yeah,
because
that's right.
there are men who are abused as well, right? Don't ever think that men are abused as well, right?
Mhm.
Because there is something innate in us as human beings that for some of us, when someone's treating us bad, we want to believe that the good in that person is in there, right? It's like, it's like you want to, oh, I know you're in there, that your potential. The hell with that.
Because you saw a piece of it a little bit.
The hell with that. When you see a
Otherwise,
person, when a person starts to make and I'm going to tell you this much, a person who is out to get you and to manipulate you and tear you down, they don't normally come at you hard and fast. It's a slow drip. It's a slow
like
drip.
Water. Like water on a rock.
It's a slow drip. It's like they lull you, they move you, they
lull you to sleep, like my mentor would say.
They lull you into their den. And then you get into that den and you're like, man, it's so nice in here. Man, this is what I've been looking for.
I feel so good.
I like it here. This warmth and this comfort and this peace, and until that first moment when you say, hey babe, can you get me a glass of water? Give you no damn glass of water. Or they get up and don't even respond. And I know that sounds like a really silly thing, but it's not. I want you to be clear.
It's not the big things. It's the
little minute things. Or the person who used to, every time, like I tell people in relationships, there are some things you should establish to always make sure that on a daily basis you are communicating with one another. And I'm not talking about text messages. I'm not talking about phone calls. I'm talking about, there are some things like, i.e., start here. What if you showered together? That is it's a vulnerable moment, because you're both literally naked, right? It's vulnerability. You need moments in relationships of vulnerability. And so when you start to feel unsafe in the moments of vulnerability, that's a message, right? If you sleep together every night, and then all of a sudden, unless somebody is sick or if there's a reason why, and that person changes positions, i.e., we used to spoon and sleep together or face one another, and now I get a back every night, or you're getting a back every night, that's telling you something's going on, right? If you had an active sexual life and all of a sudden your days go from Monday through Sunday to Tuesday and maybe Sunday, because that means they're giving it a break in between the person that they creeping with.
Something's definitely out of pocket, though.
Something's out of pocket. I need you to be clear when you start to see changes in relationship, or you start to see changes in a person. And again, male and female, whenever you meet a person and then a person wants to know, who you talking to? Red flag, goodbye, right?
Definitely red flag.
Why do you have to go over there? Right? Why you listen, I know you want to see your girls, I know you want to see your family, but I just really want you to sit here with me and let's just spend time together. Spending time together, sitting on the sofa, doing nothingness.
It's because they don't want that. Yeah, they want to keep you right there, locked up.
Don't be fooled, even down to the sex. If a person is in your life and all they are offering you is sex, because the sex, what makes you tired, makes you sleepy, makes you all comfortable and vulnerable.
And you're creating a soul tie. And
stop having sex and see how a person treats you.
Exactly. It just makes the soul tie stronger and stronger and stronger. That's what happens. And then it's hard to break away. Then you think it's love, and it's really not love. It's just a soul tie.
It's a soul tie.
Because you've been sharing something that's very spiritual when you have sex with someone.
So I just want to say, we come at crossroads many times in life, in all relationships, even with our jobs, our careers, even in your career, on the thing that you love to do. When you find yourself saying, man, I don't feel like doing this today. And I don't mean that after because we all get to that point where you're tired, you're exhausted. That means you need a rest, you need a break, you need to change scenery, right? Not leave the situation, but change sceneries. But when it is the consistent of how you feel, when you're like, this is a task more than it is a joy, you need to do an evaluation, right? You need to check, because again, you're on straight street at the red light and career or person has turned left or turned right. But you on this street by yourself. And something Steph said really, really, really validated. You can't back up because it's a one-way street. I love it. I love it. You cannot back up. That is a violation.
Because right? it's your life. You can't back up in life.
You cannot. There are no do-overs.
There are no do-overs.
There are new opportunities.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And there's
another there are multiple chances.
Now, what's today? Today is July 14th.
Yep.
2022.
Yep.
This day will die in another 10 hours. It will never ever come back again. Is
Not
there
at
going
all.
to be another Thursday? Yes, it's a bunch of Thursdays.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's not going to be ever again be this Thursday. It's never ever going to be 7/14/2022 again.
Nope. And right now it's 11:27. So in a few moments it'll be 11:28. It's done.
It's done. It's done. And so when you look at life like that, you can't, is that was done. I mean, can you make it better? And that's the thing. That's why I have that quote that says, you try to, I can't remember even my own quote, but basically it's like, you try to be a better version of yourself each and every day.
Absolutely.
Because each and every day is truly a new day. Well, it's not even new days when you really think about it. It's new, like just once we finish here, that's one segment of our day. Then we'll move on to another segment, which is a new segment. Every time you start to do something, it's another segment in that day.
Yes.
The day itself keeps renewing itself in each and everything that you do.
And you keep renewing yourself and you keep reinventing yourself. And that is the great thing about life. Each day truly is present. It's a present. And it's your future is a gift, but you gotta live in it. Right. Yeah. And it's
you have to go get the gift.
Stuck at a crossword. Yeah. Go get your gift. Go get your blessing.
Yeah, go get your gift. If you're just sitting there, thinking like it's going to go, God woke you up. He gave you a gift. Now go get it.
Go get it. So I just want to say, the crossroads of life are always going to be, but the journey of life is worth every journey. Even when it's hard.
Wait a minute, crossroads can seem daunting, but then crossroads can be a very, very happy also.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you, don't look at them as they being bad. They could be whatever you want them to be.
I think without crossroads, we would not have the ability to discover the greatness inside of ourselves, because crossroads make you have to change. Crossroads make you have to make a decision or learn that I don't have the answer and I have to seek a higher power to get to the answer, which means I have to surrender myself. Right.
It's okay if you don't have the answer, like all answers.
Because you're not going to know the answer to everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That is very, very true. So, it's just important that we all just take our time, journey life, enjoy it, and don't give up.
I know that's right.
Because there are moments that you want to pull the covers back over your head, but you can do that for a moment. You could do that for a moment, but you can't stay there.
No, you really can't. Yeah, and you don't want to. You don't want to live in that space.
I want to leave you all with this. And this little quote says, everything will work out in the end. You don't need to know how. You just have to trust that it will. Never let a bad situation bring out the worst in you. Be strong and choose to be positive. So I want to leave you all with that today. Steph, where'd you go?
I'm here, but I don't know. It disconnected and it came back, and it didn't
Oh,
come back to my face. But I'm here.
okay. Yes, I see Stephanie Deani Green up here. I'm like, where'd she go? So, guys, I hope that we really shared something today, because that was really on my heart today, just about being at crossroads, because I think in all that's going on in our lives, we're all facing a lot of different challenges, but the idea is that every day is a new day, filled with new opportunities and new,
Yes, it is.
and new grace, and just, you got to keep moving. I think I told somebody the other day, I was talking about, I am going to live this life until my wheels fall off.
That's right.
And I have warned you all, if you are not using your wheels and you are on my street, I'm taking your wheels. If you're not using your wheels, I will use your wheels for you. Just want to let you know. So
I know that's right.
I want you all to have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of the week. Steph, you got any closing thoughts, closing words?
It's all good. It really is. It's all, even when you think it's bad, it's good.
Absolutely.
It's all
Absolutely.
good. Yeah. God bless everyone. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, honey bunny.
You too, honey bunny. Thank you. I'm looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be very busy, but it's going to be productive. Got a lot of stuff I need to do with Izzy and clients and stuff. So, hey, I counted all the joy, and I'm excited.
I know that's right.
I love you all. Be blessed. Have a great rest of the week. And thank you all for joining us.